Hey guys, it's Xavier, aka Cryptic. Alright guys, let's get straight to it. When I found out I got cancer, how I felt, the emotions, I feel very alone, very alone. Even though you have your entire family around you, you just feel very alone. Hey, let's go. January 2015, I was getting these pains around my chest, stomach area, really bad, and I thought I was getting a heart attack. The emergency room and say, hey, I'm having a heart attack. Everybody freaks out, cart me in really quick, put me to bed, put the EKG machine. They're like, hey, you know what? You're not having a heart attack. I'm like, okay, thank God. So what's going on? They're like, well, we're gonna have to run some tests. They start doing blood tests, this and that, blah, blah, blah. They did a x-ray, no scans, x-ray, and I think it was maybe a sonogram, if I'm not mistaken, or whatever it's called. I know sonogram is not the proper term. They're like, you know what, you have gallstones. The gallstones, your gallbladder's causing the problem. They operated, they took my gallbladder out. I think a day after I was out of the hospital, whatever, recovering. I felt good. I was like, okay, that was it. That was the cause of all my pain and stuff like that. About a month went by. I felt good. But then the pain came back. The discomfort came back. I was on pain meds. I was on iron pills because I was also anemic. So I go back to, follow up with the surgeon that took out the gallbladder, and he's like, you know what, let me give you stronger pain meds, and let me give you some stronger iron pills, which iron pills are nasty. I don't know, it's very metallic tasting and stuff like that, and it is what it is. I wasn't too fond of taking them. Then I felt good again for maybe another 2-3 weeks. The pain came back, and I went back to the doctor. I'm like, hey, we did blood work, whatever. I went back to the doctor, and I'm like, hey, pain's back. He's like, you know what, let me give you some stronger pain meds and continue taking the iron pills. And, at that point, I'm like, kind of frustrated because I'm like, dude, the pain's not going away. What's going on? I tell him, I want to get to the bottom of it. What's wrong with me? He goes, well, we can do some expensive exams, and we could see if we could figure out what's going on. And that didn't kind of piss me off. That really pissed me off. I looked at the doctor and I'm like, look, doctor, with all due respect, you tell me what I need to do, not what's expensive or not. That's my decision. You tell me as a doctor, hey, we need to do this and that to find out what's going on. And I got really upset. I just took the paper with the results and stuff like that, walked out, called my general practitioner, Dr. B, and set up an appointment. I went to see him, I think it was the next day. And he looked at me and he's like, hey, you lost weight. You're anemic. He goes, the weight that you lose, have you started exercising, eating differently? Like, did you change your diet? What caused you to lose weight? I'm like, doctor, nothing. Nothing's changed. And he goes, you're anemic. Are you getting nosebleeds? I mean, where are you bleeding from, I'm like, doctor, I'm not bleeding from anywhere. And I saw the doctor's look. He was just concerned. He was like, so he said, you know what? He's like, you need an endoscopy and a colonoscopy right away. We really need to find out where you're bleeding because you're bleeding internally from somewhere. He sent out the referral to a GI doctor. And I went there, met with the doctor. We scheduled the colonoscopy, endoscopy for a certain date. I don't remember the date specifically. We went in there, did the procedure. He came out after I woke up or whatever, when I could understand things because, they knock you out. And the doctor was concerned, and he showed me these 4 images of a tumor, probably like the size of my eye socket in the bottom part of my stomach, and that's where it was bleeding from. He goes, I don't think that, he goes, I, he goes, I don't know what it is. It doesn't look good, but I still don't know what it is. I'm gonna send it to pathology. I'm gonna have it, you know, looked at, tested, and I'll call you and we'll go over the results. He said it'll take about a week. So fine, whatever. The week went by. I remember I was at my parents' house when I received the phone call from the doctor's office, and the doctor's like, "Hey, I need you to come in so we could go over your results." And if anybody's ever had an endoscopy or colonoscopy before, if there's nothing wrong, they pretty much just tell you over the phone, everything's okay, no need to worry about it. Go on with your life. But he said, no, you need to come in. We need to talk about your results. Fortunately, my parents were there, so I already saw their faces. They were concerned, because we all know if it's good news, there's no need to go to the doctor's office to talk about it. So when he scheduled me, I think for the next day to go over the results, whatever, I was at work. I think the appointment was at 1 o'clock. I left work, I went to the appointment. I'm thinking I'm gonna be there by myself, and bless my parents. When I get to the clinic, they're out there, I have great parents. They've always given me everything I've needed and stuff like that, and they've always been awesome support. And they were there. To be honest with you, I didn't want them to be there because I knew the news was gonna be bad. I knew, I knew it wasn't good. And knowing that my parents were there, now I got to put a front when I hear the bad news, because I don't want to distraught them, as my parents, them being older and stuff like that. Whatever, they were there. We go upstairs. The doctor says it's cancer. I bit my lip. Stayed quiet for a very long time. And my parents were there. I did not want to react. In my mind was my daughter. My daughter hadn't even turned 2 when I got these news, and I'm like, I'm thinking of my daughter, and I'm thinking about death, because the first thing you think about when you receive the news that you have cancer is you're gonna die. You're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. I'm thinking about death, and I'm thinking about my 14-month-old baby girl. And my parents are distraught, and the doctor's like, hey, I'm gonna refer you to an oncologist, Dr. Wazinski, which is awesome. And my parents, I'm like, they're trying to comfort me, and I'm still like with, stone cold face, like just trying not to react. The doctor's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. We were quiet, leaving the clinic. We walked outside. My parents are, are you okay? Can you drive? I'm like, I'm fine. I could drive. My parents left in their vehicle, and I went back to work, Like a responsible person, went back to work to let them know what was going on. But as soon as I got into that car, I just broke down. You can see me, scary, serious, bearded looking guy, crying like a little baby in a car. And for anybody that receives bad news, whether it's cancer or any kind of bad news, don't think you are weak. Don't think you're not a man. Do not think you're not strong if you break down and cry. Because I cried until I couldn't cry anymore. I had feelings of feeling alone. I felt very lonely. Even though I'm married, I have 3 kids. I have a mother, a father that's there, a sister, a brother, nephews. the amount of support that I have from my family, you still feel alone. Until this day, there's moments that I feel alone because I'm the one dealing with it. So if you get news like this, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to, you have to deal with it. And crying is a form of dealing with it. Again, I want to share this with everybody. It's not, as you see, I'm a little bit uncomfortable because I'm sharing a very significant part of my life with it, but I want to. Because if I could help out at least one person that receives any kind of bad news, and let them know, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We got to continue. We got to continue. Whatever the bad news is, you know what? I blame God. I blame myself. I blamed everybody around me until I said, you know what? Xavier, what's going on with you, man? Nip this thing in the bud and put your head down and face it head first. You know, I took that attitude and I was like, you know what? I'm going to fight as hard as I can. I'm going to fight until I can't fight anymore. I have a family I need to live for. If I go today, I don't care if I didn't have my wife, my kids. But I have a family I need to live for. She's 5 now. I have a 5-year-old that I want to see grow up. All right, I'm veering off over here. But, I go to work. I do everything I have to do at work. I let my manager know. He contacts the higher ups, HR, whatever, They were good with everything. Hey, we're going to put you on FMLA. You can take whatever time you need off, whatever, your treatment. Whew. I met with the oncologist the day after that. And he's like, we're going to treat you with a 3-regimen chemo. Don't ask me the name. I don't remember the names off the top of my head. If you want, I can find out for you. But right now, I've been through so many medications. I can't remember. We're gonna treat it with a 3-regimen chemo. He says it's gonna kick your butt. You're gonna be infused for 4 to 5 hours every 2 weeks, which means you're gonna pump poison in my body for 4 to 5 hours. But the doctor was like, hey, we're going to give it our best, and I had questions, like anybody. You ask all the questions you have to ask to educate yourself. He answered all the questions. He did great. But my question was like, am I going to live? Am I going to die? What's going to happen to me? How much time do I have? And what the doctor told me, and I want to share with everybody, he said, let's not worry about whether we're going to live or we're going to die. Let's just fight. Okay? We're going to do our best. I'm not saying I'm going to cure you, but we're going to do our best to see if we could beat this. Let's not worry about what might happen, because it might not happen. And I said, doctor, okay, cool, deal. He told me 3 things. He's like, this is what I need from you. If you believe in a God, believe in your God. Have a good mental attitude, and listen to everything I say. Because I see people die from this disease because of their mental attitude. The disease just finishes them off. And I said, okay, doctor, if that's what I have to do, then that's what I'll do. And you know what? I did that. I took those 3 tips from him and took it to heart. The next phase after that, he's like, I'm going to send you to my surgeon because he needs to install a power port, which I have. Let me show you guys. The power port right there see the scar, it's right there. Which means, if nobody knows what that is, it's a little port, a little cylindrical port with a titanium bottom, which they put the needle through, that your chemo goes through, and in that port there's a tube that goes connected to the main artery around your neck, goes straight to your heart. Got that done, recovered from that, and now it's time to start the chemo. Let me track back a little bit before that. Before we start the chemo, I met up with a surgeon, because I have like 9-10 doctors now. Because if we could get this cancer under control, we need to operate and take the cancer out. So I met with the doctor at UT Southwestern, awesome doctor. He told me, this is what we have to do. You need to react. The chemo has to shrink what's there, or else I can't do anything. Long story short, met up with the doctor, gave me good vibes. He was very positive, Time to start the chemo. They said it's going to be 4 months of chemo, surgery, recover from surgery, and then 4 months of chemo after that to kill whatever's left over. So, one thing the surgeon did say, if the chemo doesn't do what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to shrink the tumor, but also stop it from cobwebbing around the lining of my stomach. Because he goes, if the lining of the stomach has these cobweb type things, he can't operate. It's just inoperable. So that was just another concern in my head. Now we're praying that the chemo controls everything. So we do the 4 months of chemo. And this chemo, oh my God, it's like I tell everybody, I don't wish cancer on my worst enemy. It's so bad. I would go in there early in the morning, 8, 9 in the morning, get out of there, maybe 3, 4 o'clock, depending on how I felt. And you'd feel, they start pumping, this is my first time and I'm scared. I'm like, they're pumping me full of, putting these things on me, and you see the bags of chemo, and that scared me, because I'm like, okay, we're at this point, and this is real. Everybody hears chemo is bad, like the side effects, but you really don't know how bad it is until you experience it, and now I'm getting a little scared. They pump me up, they plug me up to the machine, whatever, and they start pumping the chemo in, and you start tasting it. You feel your body slowly reacting to it. It kills the cancer cells. It kills everything bad. But along with that, it kills everything good that you have. Your white blood cells, your red blood cells, everything good. And I feel my body start twitching. They shoot me up with a steroid before that gets my body ready for the shock. Okay, and that steroid keeps you up for about 48 hours straight. So that's another thing you have to deal with. And if you got a cancer, it doesn't mean you're going to experience, if you're going through cancer and it's not gastric cancer, it's a different type of cancer, it's a different regimen. You might not have to deal with this. There's people in that infusion center that was there for just an hour and left, or 30 minutes and left, and didn't have to do what I did. So don't think, if you have cancer, you're going to be doing exactly what I'm doing. No, your doctor determines that, and the type of cancer that you have determines that. So with that being said, my body starts twitching, you just feel drained, all the color in your face just goes, you just become real pasty, really pale. And, I did it. Came out nauseous, came out cramping up, I couldn't walk, my family's helping me to the car. It was just bad, I would get home, they dropped me off home, I'd be with my wife, and she saw, my parents saw a part, but she saw the worst part. She saw the way my entire body would cramp, and I'd be screaming in pain or throwing up, the emotions and stuff like that. It's insane. It's insane. And I'm sorry if this is, just graphic, but you just can't control it. You know, this minute's going on for 20 minutes, or this video's going on for 20 minutes already, and I thought it was going to be short. But it's just so. I can imagine what it could have been for her, you know, of having to see me like that, somebody that she loves, my daughter, my kids, seeing me in so much pain, you know. But this was the only thing, you know, until I get to the surgery and get it removed. That was the only thing that they had. Radiation therapy wasn't going to do it. It had to be chemo. And we did that. We did that for 4 months. I'm going to end it here for right now, because this video is going to be way too long. And I'll bring part 2 to you guys hopefully by either Sunday or Monday of next week. But just keep in mind, whatever bad news you guys get, we have to fight. Okay? No matter what it is, we need to fight. You know, we fight to live. We fight to have a good lifestyle, to give our family a good life, our kids a good life. We fight to give them everything that they need. We fight to live. My story ain't over yet. I still have a lot to tell you guys and what I'm dealing with till this day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys real soon.